Live. Okay, make sure to do as much plugging as possible here.
We're live from Georgia, a key battleground state in the race for the White House. In just moments, the current U.S. president will debate the former U.S. president as their party's presumptive nominees, a first in American history. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world to our studios in
Always the first in American history, these guys, eh?
Atlanta.
Yeah, literally.
This is the CNN presidential debate.
This debate is being produced
by
CNN and is coming to you live on CNN International, CNN.
They need the fucking viewership from Trump, otherwise they'd be shut down.
Oh, what the fuck is going on? Hang on. I might have to play the debate off another computer. Hang on.
Oh, lovely. Well, don't worry. I'm sure it's probably more stable than my Fallout 4 fucking files. Yeah, I'm playing Fallout 4, and I have mods on and shit. And, yeah, my game likes to crash frequently. Some places I can't even fucking go to without it just automatically crashing. I'm on a fucking vertical right now, and it's chucking like a
Sorry for the echo there.
Yeah, but... yeah, we're gonna have a lot of cringe, so I'm gonna start sharing this fucking stream around.
Honestly, I'm afraid of it crashing while I feel like just having it on, like I watch it, but like I don't know if I can put it on screen. I have a bad feeling it's gonna fucking crash the whole time. I'll just put the audio on in the background.
I was just like, yeah, just put the audio on or some shit.
Clarification or response.
Yeah.
Is actually
time for a candidate to speak. His microphone will be turned on.
And who are we having for guests tonight?
Turned off.
Oh yeah, they're doing the mic meeting thing.
When his microphone is muted, he will be
I invited Isaac. I don't know if he's actually gonna show up. I do get.
Yeah, that's gonna be real shit.
They will get 2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio audience tonight. Pre-written notes, props, or contact with campaign staff are not permitted during the debate. By accepting our invitation to debate both candidates and their campaigns.
Watch this out, they both do it anyway, because they probably need to cheat.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United
Oh
States.
shit, they're doing it now. I thought they were gonna hold this shit off for a little bit. There's Biden.
I wonder if he's gonna be on a shit ton of drugs.
Oh man, he's barely alive. He's barely fucking there. Oh,
why is it that...
and there's Trump.
Still not that alive.
I'm not gonna lie, even though he's a dictator, he's got aura.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate and let's.
I mean, Trump is a comedian.
Oh, we're getting into it.
Dude could have been a Hollywood actor.
Oh no, CNN's hosting it. I forgot. Uh-oh, fake news. Fake news.
I mean, it is fake news to be
Sure,
fair.
but I have a bad feeling he's gonna say that the whole
For
time.
example, a basket of groceries.
I can't wait.
Then now costs more than $120. And typical.
Wow, my game did not crash in that vertebrate ride, just a few chugs.
What do you
Impressive.
think voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
I need to hear
I
this.
take a look at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left.
Good lord, dude, get some water.
In free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was,
This guy not hydrate?
inject a little bleach in your arm.
Why does he sound like that? The
economy
fuck?
collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible.
This is the worst I've heard him in a
Try to put
while.
things back together again.
Yeah, he's not doing well. This is bad.
50,000 new jobs. We brought out.
Dude, they're gonna fucking die during them. Jesus Christ.
Manufacturing jobs, but there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people.
Dude, this is literally being set up for Trump. He literally has this.
Household.
There's no way that Biden wins with this.
Weren't able to be met during the month was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing.
I have it full volume and I can barely hear what the
That's
fuck
why
he's
I'm working
saying.
so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. that we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we have a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400.
What is he on about?
$200 for any drug, all the drugs they could include beginning next year. And the situation is we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price of cannabis, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you, President Trump. We had the greatest economy in the history.
Yeah, here we go.
Hey, he's got to jerk himself off somehow.
Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in the Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job.
Are you sure about that?
The economy, a lot of credit for the military and no wars.
Yeah, a lot of money for the military, like they need more.
Good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that,
did Trump just say he got them out of the COVID? Dude, you weren't even president when it fucking ended. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, you
were plugging the fucking the worst vaccine of them all, Johnson & Johnson. Like that was you. What the fuck?
Yeah, you were trying to get the vaccine. You're trying to get the vaccines and shit. You were like, you create a vaccine, great. So you create a thing that is not even effective and safe. That people like Sad Penguins fan goes off and is like safe and effective. Like all these conservatives think safe and effective. Yeah, that's your boy Trump doing that shit.
Okay, so it looks like they both lied so far. I mean, like every politician needs to do.
A country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody.
You know what? I'm gonna get a buzzer ready, and every time one of them lies, I'm gonna buzz it.
Impossible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs. A bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us. Thank you, President Biden.
Look, the greatest economy in the world.
Well, he's not wrong there.
I don't know anybody else who thinks he's the greatest economy in the world. And, the fact of the matter is that we pride ourselves on a system.
No one, only like a few retards. I gotta call Cap.
Do you want the buzzer? Do you want the buzzer?
You did a good job in the economy. Yeah, we need to have the buzzer for both of them.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, that's some Cap. The only people I know that are dick sucking your economy are like retards like a Xander Hall and shit. Which is another cuck I'm gonna be burying down the line, but that's
for Biden's economy, it's destiny. All right, let's keep going.
Oh yeah,
Destiny.
Destiny.
The largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant in the military, when he was president.
Can't even really blame Herbert Hoover for what happened with that economy at that time, so. Oof.
Yeah, at the same time, but like talking about how it's been good, like your whole presidency, and I'm gonna bring that back, even though it's lack of sustainability. Like I kind of understand where he's coming from in a way, but
it only really looks that bad because of COVID.
No, I know, but it wasn't sustainable from the start. Like the way he was like handling funds, like it was gonna crash eventually.
It was basically just this generation's Bill Clinton.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Like decent enough for the time, but not good in the long term. That's why Bush had to do a lot of like shit.
You would have seen it like collapse if Trump got a second term, which I mean, I maybe you will see it collapse.
It would have happened after his second term, like.
I don't know. Well,
it kind of would have been like
again,
Reagan.
like we really don't know. Like the butterfly effect kind of killed all that, but.
Thanks, China.
You had a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have any, this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world.
What?
Not true. Afghanistan.
Am I smoking crack?
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
You want allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up.
Please bring up Afghanistan, Patty.
You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
Not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cause countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back. And he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said,
well, Trump kind of did that himself, though, a little bit.
Barely.
He still did it, though. Like, you can't really accuse someone of doing something that you also did. Like, there was a lot of, like, economic
He made it better.
Advantages that Trump got from Obama's term, to some extent.
He pretty much took, like, what Obama was incompetent and made it actually
but,
decent.
like, no, there's definitely two sides to that coin, though. Like that's my problem with what he just said. Like the thing is he did that to some extent, too.
Oh no, you're not wrong. He did, but it's just like if like it was let's say Hillary did it, the economy would not have been that great. It would have been
yeah. She didn't have that great of a setup either, but
it would have been like tiny bit better, but still
he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months, and then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst.
Inflation was like starting during the end of your term, Patty.
There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned,
okay. Rare W.
Getting out of Afghanistan, but we're getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
Okay, well, slow down. Slow down. There's definitely more to it.
I mean, it is today. Let him cook.
Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations,
I'll give him the W.
And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So former President Trump...
Biden's face, good God. He's like, what the fuck am I going to say? Fuck.
That you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut
that's not necessarily true. The getting through COVID better than any other country. No, there's countries that recovered from it faster than the U.S. Yeah, I went. I think I got to bring in the.
I mean, it was better than like our country, but
well, I know, Canada, but there's countries in Europe that recovered faster.
For example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. Far more people dying.
No, he's capping a little bit. See, the thing is like, it's kind of hard to say because both of them kind of had I think they had like about an equal amount of time under its peak. Like Trump had what, like from March to January, and Biden had from January 2021 to like, I'd say January 2022 is when it was like starting to like kind of become less of a problem. Like mask mandates were being like kind of thrown out the window at that point. So they both had about an equal amount of time with it. So and I would say that I think based off the data, Trump did have a little more deaths, which I guess like people are gonna make the excuse, well, it was new and no one knew how to handle it. But the thing is like he did kind of prevent taking certain measures that could have saved more people. So
he was a little slow.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna. In the case of COVID, I do think Biden.
Yeah, I remember like what was it?
Handle it a little bit better, but
when it first started happening. Not by much. It was like
yeah, I know, but like the thing is, it's like I still think it would have lasted a little bit longer had Trump handled it. That's like the one thing I can give Biden like a little bit of like leeway for.
It'd be like what, a month or two difference. So
it's a disaster mandating it.
No, I know that, but I'm saying like he was more on top of like certain mandates. Like Trump was kind of like just like free for all. Like, oh, it's gonna be gone by X time. It's gonna be gone by X time. It's just like false promises. Like
the mandate on the vaccine, which is the
typical politician
most objected to about the vaccine, and he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent, all of the things he's done. We've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame.
Whoa, slow down. I love how he always over exaggerates.
Yes and no.
No, it's still overall no. Like
it's over exaggerated. People don't like the U.S. in general for years because of like your previous presidents and like the leaders, because puppets are telling them be dicks, be like bullies. It's not changed. It didn't change that much with Trump. Like it was like a tiny bit better. Like you did a tiny bit healing with like not getting into a single fucking war, which I'll give you that.
Even then, like that's not even as impressive as like people make it out to be, because like literally worshiping like other dictators like isn't really comforting at all. Because the thing is, when one thing goes like south, the whole fucking thing is like expanded and it could be worse. So
yeah, but at the same time, when you see what he's actually done in that aspect, it is impressive because every other president's gone into a fucking war and he's the first one in God knows how long that's never happened. So it is like some improvement in that area, but to say that like the U.S. is like a third world country, like no, just because it's like Democrat like led cities are like borderline third world shitholes doesn't mean shit. Okay, like cities suck anyway. I mean, motherfucker, if you live in Canada, have you seen Toronto? That's like it's worse than some of the most crap American cities.
All I'm saying is like the whole like I haven't had a war under me like isn't as impressive when you find out how he actually managed that. Like it wasn't like all peace. It was like don't step on my foot and I won't step on yours.
It is an improvement.
To ask him, and Will, why
yeah, but it's an improvement that could have blown up in his face. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, he got $2 trillion tax cut, benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the taxes. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure it's all
this shit is literally. I'm not even shitting you. It's like watching a comedian, like a drama teacher comedian, versus like a guy who's like high out of his fucking mind, and he was also drunk at the same time. That's what it feels like. This is what this debate is. Like you have the dramatic guy over there with like the fucking powdered face, and then the other guy who looks like a Pharaoh Ghoul from the Fallout series, who's just like, "Oh, I'm the $500 million, blah, 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 yeah, the Trump ad." That's what it feels like. I'm on crack.
elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with.
Can't wait for them to talk about Israel versus Palestine. That's gonna be funny.
He's giving out dealing with COVID. I mean,
if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President.
The fucking moderator cut him off. He's like,
yeah, he's getting cooked.
Yeah, whatever.
Trump was right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people. They cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We no longer respect it. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
Oh, brother, here we go.
Morning.
Yeah, this is a matter of time.
Abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted.
Did he not say like a few weeks ago? I swear to fucking Christ, he said like a few weeks ago that he was like trying to get like a nationwide like restriction on it. Now he's talking about the pills.
No, it's like no, I don't. He never said that. I would have heard about it. It's more like Ron DeSantis, like that shit. What he is he's like, yeah, he wants it to be more like up to like the states deciding it. That's like he's for that shit, but he's actually that's what he's gonna do. Like he probably just keep it the way it is.
Okay, yeah, because I for some reason I remember reading
keep
something
like
a nationwide.
If it does happen, it's because of like the judges themselves and not Trump, which granted Trump did appoint them, so you could, but still, it's more the court people you should be blaming, not Trump. He probably would like overturn that shit to a degree.
Because I remember reading something for some reason. So
to the states, everybody without exception, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, and getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority
I cannot tolerate, dude, someone get Biden a glass of fucking water, dude. Holy shit, he's literally about to cough his fucking brains out.
Supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not. He really should have taken some meds, have some water.
This is like this is some of the worst I've ever heard of.
You know,
bad.
It's like he's doing this on purpose so he can let Trump when he just wants to go to retirement home.
We're at a state.
You can tell we're in the final months of his presidency, though. Holy shit.
6 weeks. You don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, have your...
Biden's so not making it.
Whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, but each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including the young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that. But here's the deal: there's a lot of young women who are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters.
What the fuck is he talking about?
It's just ridiculous.
I think he's trying to make a point that Donald Trump would make.
He's kind of spiraling right now. I think I'm trying to follow him. I think I know what he's trying to say, but he's just not. The words aren't coming out right.
It's just so embarrassing.
And then try to arrest him when they cross state line.
Thank you.
Where's your friend?
Oh, when they cut him off, it's fucking hilarious.
Women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have. Everybody wanted brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back.
Okay, stop bringing up Reagan. Reagan's a horrible fucking example.
Everybody wanted it brought back.
Not to that crowd. They think he's great.
Oh yeah, still. He's using Reagan as a source for basically everything, though. It's fucking crazy. Like out of all like the great Republicans you've had like in different centuries, like why are you, or like even different decades, like why are you bringing up Reagan? I don't understand.
I mean, it's funny. His favorite president, I believe, is a Democrat, Andrew Jackson.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny. Like the only president who got the national debt to zero, which it's nice, but still.
Put it back. I was the one to do it, and again, this gives it the vote of the people.
Well, granted, Andrew Jackson's still better than FDR. No, I'm just kidding.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states. I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I support Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters.
This is going to be a huge topic.
Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's no politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby.
You think they'll bring up January 6th?
They will.
That to happen.
Even though Trump, okay, as much as I'm not the Trump guy, I will have to say this. The people that say, oh, Trump was like, no, he was literally not involved or indicted this shit. He never said explicitly to do that shit. The most he said is like peacefully protest.
I will say though, like kind of making people protest at the Capitol is like kind of a recipe for disaster at the same time, even if he didn't inflict it in the way that he expected. I guess
that's not his fault though. That's the
it's not. But at the same time, like I did think about it. Like I mean, again, it's a recipe. Like even if it's not explicitly your fault, like it is a recipe for disaster in a way. It's like a Coke and Mentos situation in real time. Like the fucking the Coke is gonna explode.
Oh, it's not good, but it's like no, it's not him, so he can't really be indicting this shit.
I remember even at the time I was a conservative. Like when I heard that they were going to the Capitol to protest, like even I had like in the back of my mind like that there's gonna be some sort of like modern revolution type thing where like something like crazy was gonna happen, and like I mean lo and behold it did. I don't think it's like a 9/11 situation, but obviously what happened was still pretty bad. But
nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only woman's life is in danger. She's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years.
Well, that's crazy. I think both of them are.
51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? In fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board, at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have.
No, thank God. This abortion talks like it's going nowhere.
Overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where
Buzzer.
No circumstance
Buzzer.
where we come across the border with the number of.
I wasn't even paying attention for a second. I was cleaning my glasses. I got zoned out for a bit. But
you're not done anything. Democrats have literally, for God knows how long. Yeah, you said, oh, it's crime and shit. Like, oh, we can improve the crime, like cities. No, you've literally made things worse. Your policies are the reasons why. That, like, I'm not saying New York's going to be Republican, but I saw stats. It's a lot closer. Trump's only down by like barely 10 points or something in New York. That's bad. Like that's like you fucked up. That was like Democrats' stronghold for like what? How long? Ever since the Reagan shit?
We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the.
No.
What we're going to do with more Border Patrol.
You've kind of made things worse.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we have the safest border in the history of our country.
Cook.
All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now. All terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We have the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in caravans.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration, killed 3 American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorists ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people. That's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating. He's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're...
I don't blame you.
At a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime.
Honestly, this is exactly what I expected it to be.
our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these three incredible young girls.
I mean, it's like, okay, Trump's making like a few decent points that I'd probably saying like borders problems, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, your solutions is not better. Because I remember saying like, you and Biden, not only do you agree on Israel and Palestine, you also agree like, you give like green card shit to like, what was it, college students or some shit, like for illegals. So like, you know, you're pretty lenient towards illegals, Trump. You're not really like hard stance against crap. If it was me in office, of course. So
to the mother. And he just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all.
See, I'm so, because like, I don't think like you should obviously be mistreating veterans, but at the same time, like, a big problem that came with Trump's presidency is the overfunding of the military. Like, it was insane, bro. It was bad.
Every president since Reagan's done that.
I know, but like the thing is like he funded them so much. Like, I understand like where he's coming from when you're putting taxes into like people who come here illegally, but like the thing is like you're still overfunding certain things that, I mean, don't need to be funded in that light, right? So I don't know. I'm mixed on that.
And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. He's the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA.
If he just like defunded the military, funded more for like the people, like if he claimed to be like America first, I would do that. Cut the military spending by what is this? Like it's like what, $1 billion or something? Let's just say. I'd probably cut it down by at least 35-40% to start. Put that into our fucking people, and then we'll just go from there. Can't do it like a lot. You gotta start slow, my friend. So.
As I approve, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half.
That's just me.
Because he's done all these great things that we did, and I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in. And it's a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since they passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. I spent my a year in Iraq. I lived in one next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France.
This is the Orlis.
And I spoke to
Is this Taxman right now?
Oh, no, this is KHB, Killian Haysbern.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, goody.
World War II cemetery.
Corn Hub lover.
Cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker.
Yes, he is.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up book, Suckers and Losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines.
Literally.
He put that up. He put it in commercials. We notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taking better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said, it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star General Sanders was on your staff.
Damn, he took that shit personally.
That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history.
Whoa. Slow down, pal.
But
their family, the only
time. Yeah.
sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans.
We're definitely going to be using that a lot.
We go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA.
Well, yeah, because of pauses. That's why.
Never before in our history.
All right, thank you so much.
Dribble, do you just want me to like just have it like us just watching it, not saying anything? Like, I don't know what you want, man.
With Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers.
Putin respects me out of fear. He just respects me out of fear. Oh, yes. He respects me out of fear. Check my
I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind.
His voice too, dude. Holy shit.
13 beautiful soldiers and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way,
he doesn't even look real. That's my
point.
I'm
gonna put. I have to pause this quickly.
I think we're gonna go in and maybe take my.
Watching this is it's bad. So when I'm seeing this shit, I'm just seeing, yeah, this is not cooking.
All right, sorry, I just had to move a little bit. I was getting uncomfortable. All right, here we go.
This was his dream. I talked to him about it. His dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded.
Oh, here we go.
A million years by Hamas.
Oh no.
Because Iran was broke.
Well, to be fair, Biden's also Israel.
Broke. They had no money for.
Well, he's claiming that Hamas wouldn't have invaded, but the thing. Now we're already misinterpreting history here. You know, I have to bring the buzzer for this.
Well, when we get to that point, we will. But
well, no, because like, you know, I'll let him explain. But that was still a buzzer moment. That was still a buzzer moment. Yeah, he's off the wall, bro. He's off the wall.
Balls to the wall, man.
At all.
Banger, by the way.
This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president.
Fucking Americans.
He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want.
What?
Do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him. Do whatever you want.
He's talking out of his ass. I don't even know what he just said.
He went in. Listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days.
Is he trying to say, like, this is buzzer-worthy shit?
It's not even buzzer-worthy. I literally think he's lost. Because he didn't tell a lie. He's just, like, fucking circling. He's literally circling his own sentence.
For real. Like, what is he on?
Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I never said that.
For 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war...
He's dodging the fucking question. I knew he was going to do this shit when Putin came up. He always does this shit.
He led everybody along.
He's fucking dodging. He's like kind of backhanding, complimenting him, and then like going back to his original point. Like he always fucking does that when Putin comes up.
$100 billion now or more. And he's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled.
He's on crack.
Before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, by the way, all that money we give Ukraine and from weapons we make here in the United States, we give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as
Bro
much
is literally defending a
That's why
guy who's literally a Nazi, bruh.
that's why we're strong.
Moving on.
That's another reason my PR probably sucks,
In
but that's
October, Hamas attacked Israel.
Oh boy, here we go.
People and taking hundreds.
This is definitely gonna be more of your thing, and
still be alive.
I think it's a perfect time for me
Israel's
to
response has killed thousands of
be
thousands,
somewhat out.
created a human
I'll still come in here, and then we're gonna cook some shit. So take control, dude.
You've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward, which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one. They're the only ones.
Okay, here we go. Well, maybe if we did some like historical research here, you would know that this has been a problem long before October 7th, which clearly he's dodging like he's been doing the whole time. We'll continue
hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened in Israel? We're trying to say the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas.
Oh yeah, but you'll give them other weaponry though. It's okay.
We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way,
they don't need them though. That's the thing. They don't need them because they've stolen other people's land. So
the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world, and so that's
not a good thing. That's not a good thing though.
Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent 100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish his job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
Oh my God! What the fuck? What the fuck, dude? What did you just say?
Want to do it? He's become like a Palestinian. Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it.
Let them finish their job. Oh my God! Wow, it's actually never gonna end.
They don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. You're going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but if we're able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe, what happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about? Go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places. You see what happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question. Would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time? And they said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied your supporters that day, some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting.
Also, Trump literally just dodged the whole fucking independent Palestinian state question, like usual. He always dodges the questions that actually, challenge his beliefs and challenge his, I guess, his lies, really, because maybe he needs some time to come up with things. I don't know.
Electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor of, in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see. I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar.
He's literally just yapping about nothing. I'm sorry, guys. Like, there's nothing for me to respond to. Like, he's literally just like saying, like, blaming Nancy Pelosi for certain things and like using the fucking thing that, oh, he said peacefully and patriotically, using that card off a technicality. Like, there's nothing for me to say. We just talked about this like 20 minutes ago.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks above the Capitol Hill, number one. I sat in the dining room of the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots.
I'm skipping this part. I'm going to lie. Like, they already talked about this to some extent. Or we already talked about this to some extent.
To jail for that. If a Republican did that, they go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon, is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is,
so what about?
They went on a whole thing about January 6th. I just skipped some of
any juicy bits since I was gone.
No, the I will say that the highlights that you did miss is like they asked Trump if he would be for like an independent Palestinian state, and he dodged the fucking question, didn't even answer it, just went back to NATO, and they brought up January 6th, and basically I mean, they did. They said exactly what I thought they would say, so it's not even relevant to even talk about. I just skipped like about 2 minutes.
Fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill, and all those people, every one of those was convicted, turned over desks, turned them over statues. The idea that those people.
Yeah, I'll probably be gone soon a little bit, just so I can see, make sure my salmon's not stick to the fucking pan.
The debates we had first time around.
You put butter on your pan so the salmon doesn't stick that bad?
Yeah.
You have to.
Proud Boy. He said no.
You should try paprika on salmon. It tastes so fucking good.
I have.
Will you denounce these guys?
Dub.
We denounce the people we're talking about now? We denounce the people who attack Ed?
Also,
What are you going to
do? Boston Pizza like a few weeks ago, like a month or so ago. Not bad. Overpriced though.
I haven't had Boston Pizza in so fucking long.
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump.
It was almost called Edmonton Pizza, but the Oilers couldn't win the cup, sadly.
Last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. But your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful
Grab
again.
Mary
Right now, it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be a success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion, you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with the son. This man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm skipping this Jan 6 shit. I really don't care. It's exactly how I thought it went. Like Biden's just saying, no, he encouraged them, and Trump's saying, no, I said patriotically, peacefully, blah blah blah. Like I really don't give a shit anymore. It's been like fucking 3 years.
Number 15, Burger King foot lettuce.
Are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of things down the road coming out. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do.
What are you doing to like make American democracy great? Like I'm just wondering.
I didn't say that I'm going to seek retribution.
Dribble, both of these retards need to be executed.
It's something I see a lot of Democrats do, where they kind of just say, "Oh, we're here to defend democracy," but they don't explain how they are.
Yeah, like what is it that you're doing to make democracy better? Even though America, it's not really a democracy. I hate to be that guy, but it's a constitutional republic. I know it's not that much different democracy, but America is run by the states. It's run by the state. Every state is pretty much its own thing, governs by its own like fucking bullshit. But it heads to the head of state, which is the president. Like retards. This is not Canada. Fucking
now we're on the black voters topic.
Anything having to do with volunteerism.
You know more blacks going to vote for Trump, not going to lie.
All the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions
but if you don't vote for Biden, you ain't black.
We're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Thank you.
All right, I'll be back.
He caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right. It's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled, tripled, and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New Scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now. And it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs and they're taking Hispanic jobs. And you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 50% unemployment. He decimated the economy. Absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in bulk communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they had health insurance. We have covered, the ACA has increased, we made sure that there's $8,000 per person in the family to get written off in healthcare. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again, and they're going to try again if they win. We find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing it, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group.
I don't know how it's
and what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. In the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever the best numbers. Okay. He's lost
we need
much
sources.
of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
You have 38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever.
Oh, no, we didn't. No.
All forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage.
Let's look up those numbers.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea, the thing that he said is true. I passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history. We find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have them. They don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and all that. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just have the money. But now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water. He hadn't done a damn thing for the environment. He, out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord, I immediately joined it. 1.5 degrees Celsius, and then he went, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants to undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones who was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. how can we do anything? We're not able to. The United States can't get its.
Yeah, he claimed credit for
One of
Biden's
the largest
insulin price
polluters in the
cap.
world.
Okay,
Number one.
good to know.
We're making significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut
Nice.
pollution in half. We have made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps where thousands of young people will learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements that cause the pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
Okay,
Right now,
Yep.
everybody making under $170,000 pays 6%.
I think Biden
every single time they get
made a good point.
I'm the first one they get when they're
Hopefully,
18 years old.
he actually
The
backs
idea
on
that
it,
they're gonna-
assuming he
I'm not-
wins.
I'm proposing that
Probably
everybody
not going to.
The millionaires pay 1%. 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent. But the biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare both times. And and if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that I believe supports, is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only thing that allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they, in fact, are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is, we're in a situation where I talk about education for Black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000 towards the tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He could look you in the face. About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I swear to God, we literally just had this topic.
I've never seen such
like
anger in our.
Not even a minute ago, or not even a minute, like half an hour ago. Like we are literally in circles here.
He said he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one who's acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates who talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession and inflation is going to increase and go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
Okay.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put them there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond
this. Is a fucking disaster. Holy shit.
The finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up. Go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians. They've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president in American history. One from best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact.
We are literally just arguing off of like fucking scholars and opinions and whatever. Oh man.
There's nothing to child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you, and they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the 2 of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about, he's increased the tariff, he will increase the taxes on middle-class people.
Oh my
I said
God.
I'd never raise a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10% tariffs. Everything coming in the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that we're importing. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he somehow helped the middle class. The middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You have the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China.
I'm back.
Thank you, President.
Hello, Chris Mouse, Sean.
So bad. They're literally like using like sources from their own side and like scholars and whatever. I'm the best president. No, I am. Like you're the
Yeah,
worst.
I heard it. My dad's watching this shit.
Dude, I cannot believe the fuck. Dude, this is worse than the last two. I'm not even kidding.
I actually prefer the last debate. At least it was funny to see these retards interrupt each other and have Trump's funny insults.
Take those
Trump's
away.
not doing that.
Like what they're actually the actual topics is a disaster. Trump's dodging so many questions. Biden's like literally just saying things like, "Oh my God."
The largest deficit.
It's like they just took the most important issues from people had on Twitter, like the last couple of years, like Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, like certain corruption shit that these online influencers, and that's the debate.
Yeah,
it's like
it's the thing is too, like with Biden.
That's the internet for you.
With Biden and freaking him talking in circles and him using like nothing sources and then Trump dodging questions. Like, dude, holy shit! This debate is just circling.
Situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing.
Like, I swear to God, we had this conversation like 20 minutes ago.
Country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. Our country.
Trump, China's been owning us for years, retard.
The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before.
Never dodging the question.
In every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot. And we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low.
November is going to be a fucking disaster.
But the numbers of...
For the Democrats, I think Trump's going to win this. People are going to be like, we don't care.
No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I already know Trump's winning. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, dude, like the fucking rallies coming up to it, the next debate, when the election night itself, like, oh my God, like they are talking about nothing.
We wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl. Big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal.
November 5th.
Fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border.
Hearing this debate made me realize, let me consider, maybe those conservatives are right. Maybe like the whole
it's gonna hurt me.
Deal, they stole the election thing might be true because I just can't fathom.
We need those machines.
Not if Trump wins. I just can't buy that shit at all.
You sure?
No, if Trump wins, I just can't buy that shit. Like if he wins this year, I like it's impossible to believe.
Thank you, President.
It'd be harder to believe, but it'd be like even half
the
person.
I would literally like not like. I mean, I already question it as it is, obviously, but like it would be even more questionable if he won.
He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say it's a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter. I think a good guy, And he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I get the election,
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna grab my pussy. You know, I'm gonna
Putin's
eat
probably
a lot
asking
there.
for billions and
That's
billions of
good.
dollars because
You know,
this
I'm
guy.
Donald Trump. That's
We had two
thank
cases.
you.
We paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid a $7
I'm literally bored of this because like they literally just keep talking about the same thing over and over again.
Have about each of you.
And Trump's not
You would
insulting.
be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest
Both of
job
them
in
should
the
be
world
asked this question.
well into your 80s?
First of all,
By the time Trump's done, is
we're being criticized being the youngest.
he gonna be like what, near 80? Well, I'm gonna look at his age.
Youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3.
Okay,
Let's
dude, he's gonna be 82.
just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look at
It's still insane how our only two options are two 80-year-old men or near 80-year-old men. Like, it's crazy.
more investment in
Yeah, people who were born during like World War II when FDR was president.
investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought an awful lot of people. Well, the whole idea of computer chips. We used to have 30% of the market. We invented those chips.
I feel like the max age
We were sending people.
for a president should be like at most 79. I know it's not great, but hear me out. Like if you got elected at 75 for whatever reason, like you should just serve your one term and then get out. Think that makes any
The thing is,
sense?
I want you to be competent, but I also want you to like actually have like I don't want you to have dated views. Like that's the problem with these two is their views are so dated. Like not like aside from the fact that neither of them are really competent, like their views are dated as shit. Like even Biden's like he literally just sounds like I don't know, like a lot of things he but like the fact that we need to protect Israel at all costs, like it's so stupid.
Well, what do you expect from like MAGA like folks?
And then obviously conservatives in general like are just dated because they don't like change. So
Country president wouldn't trade places with the United States of America.
And liberals like the worst kind of change.
Opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest
Buzzer.
in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our
they've been
word.
saying this the whole time. There's
Everybody
not even a
trusts
point.
all of our allies and our
We're the least feared. Nobody fears, or everybody fears us. Whatever the fuck.
Most
He
progressive countryman ass.
said
Bro,
this about 85 times.
Former President
Bro, I can think of like 5 countries that are more progressive than the United States right now. Canada, Denmark, Sweden, Finland. That's 4, right?
Well, I took 2 tests. Cognitive,
Let me think of another one.
both of them, as you know.
Norway.
Debated
I guarantee you Norway is more progressive despite a lot of the Catholics living
A
there.
real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions, you couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took
Ugh.
physical exams every year. And, you know,
Pretty much any Scandinavian country is really more progressive than the United States.
that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior. 2
What the
club
fuck
championships.
are
To
you
do that,
talking
you have to
about?
be quite,
Golf?
and you have to be able to hit
Dude,
the
this
ball
is a
long way.
presidential debate. Oh my god, I can't believe what I'm watching.
50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match.
This is so not serious.
I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as
What
in
the
good shape as I
fuck?
was 25, 30
I'm
years
not
ago.
gonna lie.
Probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape
The
as
aura
I
of
was.
Trump is like
Did
falling
you just
off,
say he
man.
was lighter
He
than
used to have
Biden?
so
I
much
don't-
more, like 4+ years ago, man.
And you know what? If I didn't do well, I ate.
Yeah, Trump's out there
You just
himself.
said he was lighter than Biden. Okay, I don't know about that one.
When he was White House.
You know what? I think that
Another one, a similar
I
one.
think that's a
Looks can be deceiving.
I think that's a time for the
And both
Trump's a big boy.
for one. And both. One of them said they'd never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 225 pounds or 235 pounds.
what? 255 pounds.
Well, anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is.
Did he like take that from Scott Steiner's math class?
There's no way Biden's throwing fat jokes now.
I was vice president down to a 6.
This is our destiny, everybody. We have 2 old men throwing fat jokes at each other. This is the country.
It's a 6 handicap.
Yeah, one's like an anorexic Holocaust victim looking as the other. The other looks like your average fast food like.
Wait, I know you swing.
Why can't Scott Snyder be the moderate debater so he just roast both of their appearances?
Specific concern that voters have about
They're literally making body shaming each other. We are at this point.
once
I cannot
all
believe
legal
it.
challenges have been exhausted,
Where's Scott Snyder when you need him?
the results of this
Seriously, he
election
should be the
regardless of
moderator.
Who wins? And
He would actually be entertaining. You'd probably call him a fat.
political violence in any form is unacceptable.
Well, I shouldn't have to say that.
Because that's a
but
real entertainer right there, Scott Snyder.
totally unacceptable.
What an alpha male he is.
Statements that I'm
Now I know we're doomed.
Hello, Cam Boss. How you doing?
Twitter at the time.
I mean, we've been doing for how long? I'm not gonna lie. You might want to stay in Canada.
That I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases,
This is
were
what-
ushered in by the police. And
You know, this is why I still think Canada's still a better country. Is because, like, as much as I don't like either of the main two candidates, at least both of those guys, they're younger. They're like, what? Pierre Poilievre's like, I don't think he's even 45. That's like
And we're
good.
more honest about their views too. Justin Trudeau is very open about how he doesn't like anybody. So
Yeah, they're well, granted they still suck, but
oh no,
Plus, at
they
least
suck.
Pierre's-
They suck, but at least he's honest. You know, kind of. He's honest.
they're not let.
He's honest.
At least they,
He's in it for himself.
yeah, like Pierre Poilievre's like 45, and Trudeau's like
He's so corny, by the way.
in his 50s. Even though he doesn't look like it, so like at least they're young. And Pierre's probably better than him, Trump and Biden. At least for the likes of you. You know, he's pro-gay these days.
The volumes I fucking destroyed. What?
Oh, what? I was eating food. Oh god, I love salmon and craft dinner.
Well, the fucking audio is like raped.
Rape!
So to restart it.
That would suck. Ugh. What did EDP say?
No, I might have to go on a different stream.
And we're having technical difficulties, but that's okay. I think this shit's live stream on YouTube.
No, it is. I'm watching it through CNN's channel right now, but I think I have to go through someone else. C-SPAN.
I'll be back. I was gonna put my dishes away.
No, it's not working.
Because
Oh,
we
there
have
we go.
powerful nation. We have wonderful peace because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because our own safety is at stake. And again, you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border. Then you have a war.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia, because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked.
President Trump, the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. Man. We'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run.
Nope, he's not going to do that.
He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up by numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to promote this lie about somehow there was all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea, if you lose again,
Gross just call him a whiner. I'm dead.
Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
We'll be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate, live from Georgia.
Wow, this is the complete shit show. Well, this has been terrible.
Not only am I bored, I'm getting a headache from the repeating that they're doing.
The
repetitiveness is insane.
Yeah, we're supposed to have choices. Does not feel like. I'm so glad. Well, thank God we're not American. I can say that, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least for now.
Oh, come on! Don't bother. You best not go there.
Yeah, maybe.
It's not a good look.
No, yeah, I know. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm ready to shut this shit off. I really don't want to watch the rest of this.
Well, we gotta see where this keeps going.
But like, we know where it's going. Like, they've been repeating themselves like every 30 minutes. It's insane. I mean, it's only like 28 minutes left, but whatever. I guess we'll see. On the better side,
this is just something else.
Johnny Cash is releasing a new album tonight, so that's kind of cool. I don't know if it's leftovers of Rick Rubin stuff, but I guess we'll see.
Rick Rubin?
Yeah, Rick Rubin produced for Johnny Cash. You didn't know that?
Oh, really? I know he produced for like Slayer and a bunch of hip hop stuff at Metallica's.
He's the most versatile producer ever.
Shit, that mean Death Magnetic, but still. I guess I'm not really surprised.
He's my favorite producer of all time, I'd say, because like there's a lot of like, I mean, he produced some of my favorite songs of all time, like 99 Problems, Hurt. He produced as well. Like
Radiant Blood.
He produced a lot of stuff on Toxicity as well, I believe.
Let me check. I know he did Radiant Blood.
Yeah, he produced like basically all of Toxicity. Oh, we're back.
Delivered their closing statements as predetermined by a coin toss. We're going to begin with you, President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
We've made significant progress from the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term. We find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience,
God, how much longer we have left? Fuck.
Do you think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes, and will not. And if I'm reelected, that will be the case again.
Oh, 90 minutes are almost done. Thank Christ.
Has increased your taxes because of the deficit. Number one, he's increased inflation because of the
he produced it
after the way he handled the pandemic. And he finds himself in a position where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything in the United States of America. What I did, for example, he wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to.
You cannot be serious.
Big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400. No more than $2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior. All along it's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that.
Dude, we literally talked about
you
this like
shouldn't
now
be the one
ago.
being taken care of.
Credits people have for childcare.
It's killing me because we literally talked about this like an hour ago.
Causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this.
Literally you,
we want to
dude.
get rid of this tax,
Come on,
that
like,
tax. But he doesn't do anything.
let's not throw insults at
It's
a
all
party.
projections. Like I'm watching a Jared Genesis video.
Get some people to pour in.
I hate this shit, dude. Like,
Oh, yeah,
this
Wrestling
is-
Otaku did speaking of Otaku, did a video on Trump like a little bit ago, and it was shit.
he literally only gets
know
like
what he-
Trump because Trump called Milwaukee like a shithole or something. Or not Milwaukee. But
Yeah,
yeah. Fucking,
which is
where does he fucking live again?
Baltimore.
Baltimore, that's right, not Milwaukee. I thought he lived in Milwaukee for some reason. Then I remembered he liked the Ravens. Literally the minute you said Baltimore.
Sorry, no, he's not. If he lived around Milwaukee, that would make what's. Yeah, if Otaku liked fucking live in Wisconsin, he'd be cheering for like the Packers and shit. Which thank God he's not, because that would
No,
ruin the
I
reputation
thought he
of
was
like
a
some,
Packers fan for a minute.
Rash Burner.
I thought he was a Packers.
Yeah, that's
fan
Rash
for a minute.
Burner. That's a goat.
Yeah, I forgot he liked the Ravens.
History.
You know what we need to. The United States needs to be run by Rash Burner. I'm not gonna lie. Him and Assassin should be the ones running the country.
All of the things that we've done, nobody's ever seen. We've never seen anything like it. Even from the medical standpoint, right to try. Well, we can try space age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get
I swear to God, I'm so tempted to click off
But
this
you know
shit.
what we did for the military was incredible choice for our soldiers. For our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be
This
failing.
guy had the highest approval rating. I'm lying.
Former President Trump, President Biden, stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Leadership and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
This is gonna end badly.
The first presidential debate of this election cycle. This is the earliest presidential debate that we.
There's gonna be more. Oh no!
Hang on this shot to see if they acknowledge one another. One of the telling parts of this evening was from the very start, the walkout onto that debate stage in Atlanta.
Are they done?
There's gonna be more of this. Is concerning.
Donald Trump.
I think they're done. Yeah, let me go
I
and
hope
see
so.
them.
Did this take close? Let's keep watching this to figure this shit out.
I'm gonna go back. The thing is, CNN is the only channel with like where the stream doesn't keep cutting out to like some fucking ad bullshit. So okay, wait.
First debate of the 2024 campaign and the earliest
Cam back on
presidential
CNN's
debate
thing.
ever now in the books and in front of the voters. Tonight, along with Aaron Burnett, the first word on what those voters might make of it from our political professionals, from our CNN Flash poll and swing state focus group. We'll be talking to surrogates, including Vice President Harris, getting fact checks from Daniel Dale and new reporting from inside both campaigns. With me here, CNN political commentator Scott Jennings, Kate Bedingfield, David Urban, Van Jones, Alyssa Parr Griffin, and Newsnight anchor Abby Phillip, and David Axelrod, and CNN Chief National Correspondent John King. John, let me start with you. Your thoughts?
Anderson, this was a game-changing debate.
That's over.
Right
Yeah, it's over.
Speak,
yeah, it's over. All right, let's end the stream.
Oh God. Well, let's give our final thoughts and say who's won, who lost in that shit. Both of you are losers.
Neither
I
of
think we
them
can agree on
won.
that.
No,
This was like
neither of them
fucking...
won. I'm saying that.
Trumpies will probably say Trump won.
He
just
didn't.
because
he dodged
like
so many questions. He lost. He lost by default. You can't dodge questions in a debate, and Biden lost because he was talking in circles, as usual. So.
And he didn't even like try to debate.
Yeah, no, they both lost. I'm sorry, you lose by default if you dodge questions. So, all right, that's it.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.